Hi everyone, this is Marcus with DTF Station, and this video will be a part of a 3-episode series for the full installation and setup of the Prestige R2 DTF Printer. In this video, we will go over the printhead adjustment process. Episode 3, Printhead Adjustment. Before we start any adjustments, you need to perform a nozzle check. You need to make sure 90% of your nozzles are firing before performing any type of printhead adjustment, headspace adjustment, color adjustment, or bidirectional adjustment. Please note, the XP600 heads are not going to give you 100% nozzle checks. Nozzle check patterns from these printheads will always have some nozzles not firing due to air bubbles. When printing in production resolution, breaks in the nozzle check are allowable up to 20%. During the step, make sure to check the waste tank. The tank should be at a level below the printer, and the waste tube should not be in contact with the waste end. Hosensoft must be open and the icon on the bottom left must be a solid green for the nozzle check to work. If Hosensoft is not open, or this icon is flashing red, then the printer will not perform a nozzle check. Now press the menu button on the front control panel. Press the down arrow button until you get to Head Maintenance. Then press Enter. Then press the down arrow key again until you get to Head Status. Then press Enter. Note, you can also perform a nozzle check directly from the Hosensoft software and perform head cleanings for specific heads as well. This will print a nozzle check pattern for you on your media. If you see any breakages like we do here, head back to the control panel and press Head Clean to perform a head cleaning. Once the head cleaning is complete, go back to the menu system to Head Maintenance, Head Status, and press Enter to print another nozzle check pattern. If you are getting at least 90% of the nozzles firing, you may proceed to the printhead adjustment. Here are some rules for cleaning if you're having issues with your nozzle check pattern. If you are getting around 50% of the nozzles not firing up on all channels, you can perform a full ink for 20 seconds, then perform 2 head cleanings. Again, once you reach 90% of the channels firing, you're good to go. Now let's begin the printhead adjustment. On Hosensoft, go to Adjust on the top. Click Step Adjust on the left. Under Base Step, click Print Adjust. This will have the printer print 2 lines. Under the lines, there will be a scale going from -10 all the way to +10. Your goal is to find the number at which 2 lines converge into one. Here we will be using a digital microscope, but if you don't have one of these, a good technique to use is to take a picture with your smartphone and zoom in on the picture. As you can see, when you get closer to -10 or 10, the lines start to separate even more, so we clearly know those 2 are not the answer. As you get closer to 0, 2 lines converge into almost one perfect line. After analyzing, we can confidently say 1 would be the answer here. 2 lines converge into almost one perfect line. After analyzing, we can confidently say 1 would be the answer here. Let's head back to the software, and next to Print Adjust, let's put 1, then click Calculate. Click Save. If you'd like to reconfirm that you put in the correct value, you can click Print Adjust again. If the single line is at 0, then you have done this step correctly. Now let's perform a headspace adjustment. Click Headspace on the left navigation bar. Since this printer has 2 printheads, we have to make sure the 2 heads are aligned properly. In order to align them, we will first perform a left horizontal unidirectional adjustment, then perform a right horizontal unidirectional adjustment. Then, lastly, perform a vertical adjustment. Note, we will always adjust H2, never adjust H1. Keep this as a note as you move through this procedure. H1 is CMYK, H2 is white, left is CMYK, right is white. First, let's start with the horizontal left adjustment. Click Print Adjust. This will print a new pattern with values ranging from -12 to +12. Before we begin, once again, we would like to remind you that the microscope is not necessary. Our recommendation is to take a picture of the patterns with your phone, then zoom into the photo that you took in order to see the fine details. Each bar will be made up of a white bar and a black bar. Your goal is to find and identify the number at which the two bars line up the best. If you look at positive 12, you can see that the white and black bars are far apart from each other. If you look at 0, you can see that the bars are much closer together, but still not perfectly aligned. You can also take a look at the cheat sheet above. As you can see, the white arrow is pointing slightly to the right of the 0, which means the white has to move slightly to the left. So now let's look at positive 1. As you can see, the two bars line up perfectly. So for this step, the answer will be positive 1. Let's head back to the software. So instead of inputting just positive 1, you will actually have to add this number to the existing value. So -1 plus positive 1 equals 0. Now, make sure to click the save icon on the top right to save your new settings. Just to make sure, we will click Print Adjust on the left distance one more time. After examining the new pattern, we can still see that 1 is better than 0, but not by much, so instead of moving it an entire increment, we will add 0.5. 0 plus 0.5 equals 0.5. Now click the save icon again. Now let's work on the right distance. Click Print Adjust. Once the pattern is printed, this time, try heading up to the cheat sheet first. The white arrow is a lot further to the right than it was when we did the left adjustment. This means we have to move the weight over a lot more than we did before, so we can easily skip 0 and 1 and start looking further to the right. Pretty immediately, we find that the best aligned bars are either 3 or 4. Head back to the software. The value is -3. Here we chose to go with 4, so the current value -3 plus the new value 4 gives you a value of positive 1. If you come across something this close, you can always add a value between like 3.5 instead of 4. Go ahead and save again, and let's check it one more time by clicking Print Adjust. Looking at 0, you could tell it's almost perfect. We could have gone with 3.5, but this is still very good and we can leave it this way. Now let's perform a vertical alignment. Click vertical up top. Then click Print Adjust. This pattern will look different. Here you have horizontal lines that move vertically. You'll see both black and white horizontal lines. You are looking for the number at which the black and white horizontal lines line up the best. When you go to 0, you can see that the white and black lines are not aligned. If you look at -2, this looks very good. Now let's head back to the software. The current value is 440.5. Our new value is -2. -2 plus 440.5 equals 438.5. Now, click Save. Always double check the vertical as it can slightly change. As you can see, 0 is perfectly aligned. You can also double check by looking at this white arrow on the left and seeing if it is aligned with the horizontal line next to the 0. One note here, sometimes you may be missing some lines as shown here. This means that some of your nozzles are not firing. This is okay as long as you have additional other lines that you can reference. Okay, now we will do a color adjustment. Click Color Adjust on the left navigation bar. Click Left Adjust. Right after the printer prints, Channel 4, immediately press the pause button on the control panel of the printer. Now, the printer will print a rather large pattern. Take note that horizontal rows show the different channels, and the vertical columns are your values ranging from +8 all the way to -8. The objective here is pretty much the same as the previous adjustments. Do you want to find the number at which the color bar and the black bars line up the best? For the colored channels, you will be adding the new values on top of the current values in the H01 row under their respective channels. After a full inspection, every channel lands on 0 for the colors, which means we don't have to change anything for H01. Once you've completed this step, go back to the control panel and click pause again to resume the printing. Now the printer will print the white channels. Same thing here, go channel by channel, looking for the number at which the bars align the best. After inspecting every channel, we see that consistently, every channel lands on 1 for the most aligned bars. Head back to the software, and for the weight channels, we will be inputting the new values into row H02 and under their respective channels. Since every channel is 1, and the current values are 0, 1 plus 0 equals 1. Once the new value is added for every channel, make sure to click Save up top once again. For color adjustment, we do not do a second print since that would use up too much of the media. Once saved, click Right Adjust to print a new pattern for the right side. Reminder to click Pause after channel 4 is printed. Then, after checking all the color channels, press pause again to resume printing the white channels. Then input all the values into the software. Like before, H01 for all channels was 0. For H02, all channels were positive 1, so we will add 1 to the current value of 0 to equal 1. Once completed, always remember to click Save after any adjustments. Reminder, you are not putting the new value to replace the current value, you are adding the new value to the current value. This can be confusing since the current values are 0. So for example, if the current value was -2, and your new value is 1, then your new value, since you are adding the two values together, should be -1. Alright, moving on to the final procedure, bidirectional adjustment. Click Bidirect Adjust on the left navigation bar. Now click Print Adjust. This will print the bidirectional pattern. Besides headspace adjustment, bidirectional adjustment is the next most important adjustment to be made. Your printer will constantly be printing bidirectionally, which means that the printhead is laying down ink when it moves left and also when it moves right. This means that the adjustment has to be dead on so that it does not cause blurry images. After close observation, luckily, the most aligned bar is already on 0. If it was not on 0, then, just like before, you will take the new value and add it to the current value, which is 50, then just like before, you will take the new value and add it to the current value, which is 5. Again, after any adjustments, make sure to click Save. After all adjustments are completed, it is very important to back up your settings so that you don't have to repeat this process again. Head up to Advanced, in the Password section, type in 6 ones, and click Confirm. Before moving on, go ahead and designate a folder where you would like to save the backup. Once ready, in the new window, go to Firmware and click Export Firmware Configuration. Now find the folder that you want to save this in. Name the file. Then click Save. Once saved, click OK. Now go back to Firmware, export the firmware configuration parameter. Now do the same and save this file. Now close the window. You are now done with all the adjustments. Note, there are two instances in which you may have to redo all of these adjustments. 1. If you use a new media in which the thickness is different now, the distance between the media and the printhead changes, and you will have to do the adjustments again. 2. If you install a brand new printhead, all the alignments may not be the same anymore, so you will have to do the adjustments again. Alright, to finish off, you can push the down arrow until the printed media is clear of the printer bed. Cut the excess off. Then replace the cover to the printer carriage and secure it by tightening the screws. Next, place the cover back onto the motherboard and secure it by tightening the screws. Now close the lid and secure it by using these 2 screws. Alright, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching.